Friends, let's talk about healing, not the kind that happens when a wound scabs over or a bone knits itself back together. The goofy, I'm talking about the kind of healing that takes root in your soul, the kind that doesn't just bandage the pain, but transforms it. That healing is messy. It's not a straight line, but the right kind of thoughts, the ones grounded in truth, self-compassion, and courage, have the power to heal us permanently. Today, I want to share thoughts that can literally change the trajectory of your life. These aren't glitches. They're anchors, they're reminders. And if you hold them close, and they won't just heal, you'll never look at yourself the same way again. We all carry stories within us, chapters we're proud of, and others we'd rather rip out, burn, and bury. And for a long time, many of us live believing that our past defines us, that the mistakes we made, the people who hurt us, the times we fell short, they somehow get to be the final word on who we are. But here's the truth on your past is a part of your story, not the whole book. You are not your trauma and the goofy. You are not the bad decisions you made when you didn't know better. You are not the version of yourself that settled, broke down, lashed out, or got lost. Those were moments shaped by pain, fear, survival, and sometimes sheer exhaustion, but they are not your identity. Still, here's the paradox. While you are not your past, your healing depends on honoring it, not glamorizing it, not obsessing over it, but respecting it enough to say, this happened, it mattered, and it changed me. And you can't truly heal from something you refuse to face. Pretending it didn't hurt or acting like it didn't happen doesn't make you strong. It keeps you stuck. Honoring your story means looking it square in the face and saying, you don't define me, but you helped shape me. And I'm not ashamed of who I became through it. Think about it. Every scar you carry, visible or not, tells a story of survival. Every moment you got up, even shakily, is evidence of your resilience. And when you learn to view your past not as a prison, but as a pathway to empathy and growth, you start to live with wholeness, and not because you've erased the pain, but because you've integrated it to a bigger, braver narrative. You don't have to love every part of your journey, but you do have to love who you are becoming because of it, and the goofy. Healing lives in that tension, the space where self-acceptance and truth meet. So don't reject your story. And the goofy, don't shove it in the corner like it's something shameful. Carry it with dignity because it led you here. And here, this is the beginning of something beautiful. Self-compassion isn't something you check off a list like a completed task. It's not a mountain you climb once and declare, I've arrived. It's a daily, sometimes moment-to-moment practice. It's the quiet voice that shows up in your head when the louder, meaner one is tearing you down. And let's be honest, and the goofy, most of us didn't grow up being taught how to speak kindly to ourselves. We were taught to hustle for our worth, to fix ourselves before loving ourselves, to measure our value based on performance, perfection, or approval. But the truth is, healing and growth don't happen in shame. They happen in safety. And the safest place you will ever find has to begin within you. Self-compassion is choosing to show up for yourself the way you would for a friend, not just when you're proud of yourself, but especially when you're disappointed, embarrassed, or hurting. It looks like pausing in the middle of a mistake and saying, I'm human, I'm learning. It's okay to get it wrong. It looks like letting yourself rest when the world tells you to grind harder. It looks like saying no without guilt and yes without justification. And it sounds like giving yourself the same softness you offer to others, even when it feels unfamiliar or undeserved. Some days, self-compassion will come naturally. Other days, it will feel like a battle. Because your inner critic is clever, it knows your insecurities, your past, your soft spots. It tries to convince you that you're lazy, broken, not enough. But every time you respond with gentleness instead of judgment, you're rewiring that voice. And the goofy, you're creating a new pattern, one where kindness becomes your default, not your exception. And no, it doesn't mean letting yourself off the hook or avoiding accountability. It means holding yourself accountable with love. You can be both honest and kind. You can own your growth edges while still believing you are worthy as you are. That's the beauty of self-compassion. It doesn't demand perfection. It simply invites presence. So on the days when you feel like a mess, when the weight is heavy and the mirror feels harsh, try this. Place your hand on your heart. Breathe and say, I'm doing the best I can. That is enough for today. Because it is. You are. Every single day, we live in a world that tells us to armor up, to smile when we're breaking, to keep quiet when we're afraid, to never let them see us sweat. From a young age, and the goofy, we're taught that being strong means being untouched, unmoved, unshakable, but that kind of strength, it's a performance. And behind it, there's often loneliness, anxiety, and a deep hunger for connection. Real courage doesn't come from pretending. It comes from showing up fully, honestly, and imperfectly. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's the most accurate measure of courage because it demands that we risk being seen. And being seen, truly seen, requires everything we've got. It's saying, this is me, no mask, no armor, just my truth. And that's terrifying, isn't it? But it's also where the magic happens. Every time you speak your truth, even when your voice shakes, you take back your power. Every time you let someone into your pain, you create space for healing. And the goofy, vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or spilling your soul to everyone you meet. It means being real. It means being honest about your feelings, your needs, your fears, and your desires, choosing connection over perfection. And yes, vulnerability opens the door to rejection, disappointment, even heartbreak, but it also opens the door to love, belonging, empathy, and transformation. You can't selectively numb emotions. When you block out the fear, you also block out the joy. When you hide your struggles, you miss out on the kind of connection that says, me too. I've been there. And the goofy, you're not alone. Courage is telling your story without knowing how it will be received. It's asking for help when you're used to doing it all alone. It's saying, I love you first. It's admitting when you're wrong. It's being willing to fail in front of others. Vulnerability isn't about being fearless. It's about being brave in spite of the fear. And the goofy, you might not always be met with the response you hope for. Not everyone will hold your truth gently. But that doesn't mean your vulnerability was wrong. It means you were brave. It means you stood in your truth, and that alone is a victory. So let go of the myth that being tough means being silent. The goofy, let go of the belief that you have to be bulletproof to be worthy. Real courage is soft. It trembles, it cries. And the goofy, it keeps showing up because it knows that the risk of being real is always worth it. You don't have to hide to be safe. And the goofy, you just have to be brave enough to be seen. Life doesn't come with a manual. If it did, I'm sure we would all be flipping through the pages, trying the chapter on how to avoid heartache, how to sidestep the hard stuff, how to make sure things go according to plan. But that's not how it works, is it? We can't control everything. In fact, we can't even control most things. The universe doesn't consult us when it hands us challenges, obstacles, or unexpected turns. We all know this truth on some level. We can't control other people's actions. We can't dictate how the world will respond to our efforts. And we certainly can't predict what's coming next. And for many of us, that lack of control feels terrifying. The unknown is uncomfortable, and it's easy to feel powerless when life doesn't go according to our carefully crafted plans. But here's where we regain our power. While we can't control everything, we can choose how we respond. And that's where the magic happens. Our response is the one thing we control, and it's the one thing that determines whether we will remain victims of circumstance or step into our true strength. Choosing your response means you're no longer at the mercy of the outside world. It means deciding that no matter what happens, you get to decide how you show up. And the goofy, it means refusing to let someone else's actions or the unpredictability of life steal your peace. And the goofy, it's not about pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It's not about sweeping your feelings under the rug or faking it until you make it. It's about giving yourself permission to feel everything, to feel the disappointment, the anger, the sadness, the frustration, and still in the next breath, choose a response that reflects your values, your integrity, and your courage. And the goofy, this is where resilience is born. It's born in the moment you realize that while you can't stop the storm, you can decide whether you'll drown in it or weather it. You can choose to rise even when the waves are crashing down around you. You can choose to respond with kindness, even when the world feels unkind. You can choose to show up, even when every part of you wants retreat, choosing your response, practicing emotional regulation. It means that President in the goofy, it means that instead of reheating impulsively in the moment, you take a step back and consider your choices. You don't have to be perfect at it. It's not about always getting it, right? It's about learning to pause, take a breath, and then act from a place of calm, strength, and clarity. And yes, it's hard. It's hard when you're tired. And the goofy, when you're overwhelmed or when life feels too much. But every time you make the choice to respond thoughtfully, and the goofy, you reinforce your agency in your own life. The truth is your peace doesn't depend on circumstances. Your peace depends on your ability to choose how you will respond to them. That's where your freedom lies. You don't have to let your feelings be dictated by the chaos around you. You can feel your feelings, honor them, and then choose how to respond with purpose. So the next time life throws you a curveball, remember this. And the goofy, you don't have to control everything. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do have the power to choose your response. And that's enough. We've been taught that joy is something you earn, and the goofy, something that comes after the struggle, after the healing, after the hard work. And the goofy. We often think that joy is a reward. Something you're given once you've paid your dues, once you've climbed the mountain of your pain and conquered it. But what if we've got it all wrong? What if joy isn't a finish line, something to chase after once we've fixed ourselves? And the goofy, once we've healed enough to deserve it. What if joy isn't something that comes later, but something that exists in the midst of the healing process? The truth is, joy isn't a destination. It's a companion. It's the final step in your healing journey. It's part of the journey itself. And the goofy, healing doesn't mean that all your pain magically disappears, and that everything suddenly falls into place, or that life becomes perfect. It means you learn to live with the cracks, and the goofy to find peace amidst the chaos, and to find moments of light even on your darkest days. When we think about healing, we often think about the work we need to fix ourselves. But healing isn't about perfection. It's about wholeness. It's about allowing yourself to be human, messy, and beautiful all at once. It's the acceptance that you don't need to be completely fixed to experience moments of joy. And the goofy, you can still find light even when you're in the middle of the storm. You can still laugh even when you're broken. And the goofy, you can still feel the warmth of the sun even when it feels like your heart is weighed down by grief. The goof, the idea that joy is a reward after healing sets up for an all or nothing mindset. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect condition, and the perfect version of ourselves before we give ourselves permission to experience happiness. But the truth is, you don't need to wait. You need to wait until you're over it or better to feel joy. You deserve to experience joy right now in the middle of your healing process, in the middle of the mess. We forget that joy isn't just about big moments of triumph, and it's the little moments of grace that show up when we least expect them. It's the unexpected laugh with a friend down, you're feeling the quiet moment of peace when you finally slow down, the warmth of sunlight on your face after a long, hard day. These moments of joy are reminders that life, even in its imperfection, is still beautiful, and those moments are part of your healing. When you embrace joy as part of the process, not as something to be earned or saved for later, you begin to shift your entire perspective. You stop waiting for everything to fall into place, and instead you start living fully in each moment and letting joy sneak in and surprise you. You realize that joy isn't about escaping your pain. It's about coexisting with it, finding the balance between the struggle and the sweetness. Healing becomes a dynamic, ongoing journey, and the goofy and joy is the rhythm of that journey. You don't need to heal perfectly to experience the fullness of life. And the goofy, the healing process is messy and sometimes slow, but joy can still accompany you on that path. It can sit with you in the quiet moments, comfort you in your grief, the goofy, and remind you that even when it feels like the world crumbling, there is still beauty, still love, still light to be found. So in the goofy, give yourself permission to feel joy now. Even if you're still healing, even if things aren't perfect, even if you're not fixed, joy is not the reward waiting for you at the end of your healing. It's the energy that fuels your journey. And the goofy, it's a vital part of the process. You don't need to wait for it. You're worthy of it right now.